Hello, in this video we're looking at issue 56 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, where we're taking our first steps into army building by learning how to choose our commanders. Hello, I'm Mike and this is Will, we are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're bringing you issue 56 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine today, and this issue we've got two new layer paints, Administratum Grey and Baylor Brown. We'll have a look through the issue first, but if you'd like to skip ahead to today's battle report, you can do so using the time code in the description or the chapter bars. We're looking through the issue first. So first up, this is effectively a random generator you can use for when you use Miracle Dice for your Battle Sisters to give more flavour about what's happening. So you can see there's different hit and wound rolls for different weapons, and then save rolls and morale rolls as well, showing how the Emperor's influence is guiding or inspiring them. Then there's some background here for Warzone Damnos, so you can see there that Damnos is fairly close to Ultramar, the home of the Ultramarines. But unfortunately, when a Necron tomb world rose on it, the Ultramarines were a bit too busy fighting in Vigilus on against the Death Guard invasion of Ultramar. So some of the successor chapters of the Ultramarines had to take charge of the defence. So we have the Iron Hounds, the Libators and the Brazen Consuls, you can see there. Unfortunately, alone they weren't enough to hold back the endless tides of Necrons, although later on the White Scars and the Salamanders were able to send reinforcements, and the balance of power shifted in favour of the Imperium at this time. So now we have background on the Officio Assassinorum. The Imperial Assassins used to hunt key targets. And over the next page, we have four of the types of assassins, but these are the four ones you can get plastic models of. So the Calidus assassins, who disguise themselves to get close to the enemy. You have the Eversaur assassin, where they're pumped full of drugs and then dropped near the target, and then explosion of violence occurs. The Culexus assassin, who create psychic null zones, so are specifically used to take out psychers. And then the Vindicar, who are expert snipers. And then a short story here about some corn worshippers conducting some sort of heretical ritual and meet a sticky end at the hands of an Eversaur assassin. And then more background here on Wars of Faith. Wars declared by the Ecclesiarchy whenever they feel the Imperial Creed is under threat. And mentions how when a War of Faith is called, there's a rallying cry to the faithful of the Imperium to join up. And then more background on the Battle Sisters. We have the Orders Minoris. This is a lesser orders militant, descended or offshoots from the six main ones. So we have the Order of the Glowing Chalice, the Order of the Thorn, the Order of the Iron Veil, the Order of the Ashen Shrine, the Order of the Wounded Heart, and the Order of the Golden Light. So if you don't fancy any of the major ones, there are some lesser ones you can use, or you can always just make up your own order if you're making your own Battle Sisters army. The painting guide is doing some highlights on the new paints. So we have Administratum Grey. First up here is used to paint camouflage on the Phobos Librarian's camouflage cloak. So we're starting with a base coat of Dawnstone, then using a Mechanica Standard Grey to do some darker shapes, and then doing some lighter shapes with Administratum Grey to make an urban camouflage effect, which looks quite nice. But it's also used to highlight the Battle Sisters armour, and then the fleur-de-lis symbols. And then the Baylor brand is also used on leather parts, so the Space Marines have some leather pouches and things, and the Battle Sisters as well have some. And then even the Necrons get in on the action, where you're highlighting the black parts of their gun cases and parts of their armour as well. You can see the Cryptex cloak there. And even some of the terrain has some black bits you can highlight as well, so you can see some examples of it there. And with all of that over, I can finally hand you over to Will, who will take us into today's game.
So in this issue we don't have any new rules to learn, we're actually straight on to our game. So here's the background for it. Both the Necrons and the Space Marines are seeking out enemy leaders and trying to kill them in order to just disrupt the other side. And both of them are sending out patrols to find targets' opportunity to do so. And in this game we're actually allowed to choose which of two characters will be leading each of our armies. So here you can see for the Necrons, there's the army list they'll be using there, and then either one of two HQ choices, either the Royal Warden or the Technomancer. And there's some considerations on the left of which one you might want to pick depending on the army that you've got, the mission, and what your opponent is fielding. That might inform your choice as to which one to pick. And on the next page, the same for the Space Marines, because it's an all-Space Marine force for the Imperium in this game, so again, there's their army list, and either the Primaris Lieutenant or the Librarian to choose from. And again, some more considerations, which one you might want to choose there. And here is our next mission, Swift Assault. The forces, as you would have seen on the previous page, the Necrons have the Royal Warden or the Technomancer, who will be leading 10 Necron Warriors, 5 Immortals, 3 Scarab Swarms, Canoptic Spider and 5 Flayed Ones, whereas the Space Marines have either the Lieutenant or the Librarian, leading 2 units of 5 Assault Intercessors, 1 unit of 3 Assault Intercessors and 3 Aggressors. Here's the battlefield, so again we're on the printed terrain side of the mats from issues 18 and 38, although in this case we're not using one set of plasma conduits, they're replaced by some boxes and some barrels. And there are deployment zones in the top left and bottom right corners, extending in a triangle, and the objectives across the centre line between those two deployment zones. So those objectives form the main objectives, secure and hold, which is a progressive objective. As in the previous game, it's 5 victory points for each objective you hold at the end of your turn, and an additional 5 if you hold more than your opponent. And we also both have the Slay the Warlord secondary objective in this game. It lasts for 5 battle rounds, and whoever has the most victory points wins. So let's get the board set up and show you the deployment, and then we'll get into the game. So here you can see the battlefield from above. You can see, well, objectives 2 and 3 there. Number 1 is just behind the building down on the bottom right. Our deployment zones on some diagonals. We actually spun the board around relative to the picture in the magazine because Mike wanted to be the defender up in the other corner. So we'll look at his deployment first. You can see half of it, sort of, here.
Yeah, so the aggressors off to the right are in strategic reserves. Then I have a unit of assault intercessors outside behind the Hemotrope reactor. That's the one with the sergeant with the plasma pistol. And then inside the structure are the unit of 5 with the sergeant with the bolt pistol, the lieutenant, and then the unit of 3 around here. And I chose to be the defender, basically so that Will can't just park the Immortals on top of this building.
And here's a better view of the guys who are in that building there.
Yes, and I also picked the Lieutenant as my leader, mainly because he's much more durable and he'll buff all the Assault Intercessors with his reroll 1's aura. Librarian wouldn't have been a bad choice, but only picking one, I'd rather have the Lieutenant.
And here you can see all of my Necrons deployed. So from left to right, the Flayed Ones are in their dimensional translocation to arrive later. There's the Canoptic Spider on the other side of the big black container, the Scarabs closest to the camera on the other side, the Immortals in the middle with the Royal Warden, and then the unit of Warriors. I picked the Royal Warden because although the Technomancer is good and he can bring stuff back, I think against an all-melee army I really want the ability to let things fall back and still shoot, and also he has his own range firepower, which is much better than the Technomancers. And I should also say I've gone for Warriors with Gauss Reapers in this game because they're better against Space Marines, and the short range shouldn't matter because we're all going to be piling onto the objectives. So now we just need to roll off to see who goes first. We roll.
I think I'll choose to go first.
So we'll head into Imperium turn 1. As usual, we start with 3 command points each. Imperium go up to 4 in their command phase, but we don't have any faction rules for the Space Marines yet, and the Necrons don't get command protocols. We don't have to do any of that stuff at the beginning of the turn in this game.
So, movement phase is very simple. All my units advanced. The unit of 3 are just about in range of objective 1, so they'll be able to take that. In the middle, the Assault Intercessors, they're advanced, and Lieutenant's moved up with them. And then the squad with the Plasma Sergeant, also advanced, but they only got 2, so they're just going to stay behind the Hemotrope reactor for now. No shooting, everything advanced, wouldn't have been in range anyway. So all that happens is I take objective 1, and I get 5 victory points, and then that's more than a Necron, so I get another 5 victory points.
So 10 victory points to 0, and we're going to Necron's turn 1. Nothing to do in my command phase. In the movement phase, the Warriors down here have advanced. They only rolled a 1, but that's okay. I don't want to get too close because they might get charged. The Immortals moved through the building, so they'll be able to see stuff, and the Royal Warden come around the back of the building. In the reinforcement step, I did bring down the Flayed Ones, as you can see in the middle. They're just within 3 inches of objective 2, but hopefully not too close to the Space Marines. And over the top of the board, both the Scarabs and the Spider advanced. They both rolled 6s. The 3rd Scarab base is inside that building, just blocking off the aggressors from coming in the corner, hopefully. On to shooting. The only main target I've got is the unit of Assault Intercessors in the middle, behind the pipe. So we'll start with the Royal Warden having shots at them. Yes, 2 shots at this range, hitting on 3s. We've got 1, wounds on the 3. That is a wound.
4+ armour save because we were behind cover. No, I think I will actually spend a command point to re-roll that because it's 2 damage. Made it.
So the Immortals will put 5 shots into them as well. 5 shots on 3s. Just the 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
2 4+ saves. Made 1, failed 1. So 1 green takes a wound.
And the Spider is in range of those Assault Intercessors behind the Hemotrope reactor. It did advance, but it has assault weapons. So it'll be 12 shots hitting on 5s. 4 hits. Wounding on 3s, because of strength 5. That's 3 wounds. No AP though, and they will have cover from the Hemotrope reactor.
Yep, so 2s. Made them all.
But that'll be it for my turn. The Warriors weren't in range even with their advance. So I now hold objectives 2 and 3, so gaining 10 victory points for that, and another 5 for holding more than the Imperium. So I'm up to 15 victory points, to the Imperium's 10. Well, with that, we'll be on to Space Marines turn 2.
So I gain a command point, go back up to 4, and then in the movement phase, Assault Intercessors are going to move out towards the middle. I'm going to go around the pipe because it's very annoying to get over it. Lieutenant's moved up, and he's just within 6 of the other squad. Down by objective 1, the 3-man Assault Intercessor unit has moved up. One guy has just enough movement to get him inside that structure. Makes his charge easier. I've also brought in the aggressors over there who are going to be in flamethrower range of those warriors. I'll start the shooting phase with the aggressors. They're going to fire their flamestorm gauntlets at the unit of Necron warriors. 66 automatic hits. 17 hits, wounding on 4s. Is that 9 wounds?
So 9 4 plus armor saves. Oh, I failed 6 though, so that's quite a lot. So I've taken 6 away from near the Assault Intercessors to make their charge longer, but then we do have reanimations. On 5s, rerolling 1s. 1 success, but 2 1s to reroll. No, only 1 warrior comes back. And put that one there closer to objective 2.
So I'm going to do this squad of intercessors next, and the 4 with the bolt pistols are all going to shoot at the same unit of Necron warriors, because they are now all in range.
Sarge is out of range of plasma.
4 shots on 3s, getting 3 hits. Wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s caused by the lieutenant. Ooh, reroll that one. Getting 2 wounds.
2 5 pluses. No, 2 to reanimate. 1 comes back.
Do the other squad of assault intercessors. All 5 of them are going to fire their heavy bolt pistols at the warriors. So 5 shots on 3s. Ooh, getting 3. 4s, rerolling 1s. 2 again.
5s. 1 failed, reanimating. No.
You've got 1 assault intercessor in the structure who can see the warriors. He'll fire his bolt pistol at them as well. He hit. Wounds on a 4. Yes.
5 plus. No. Reanimation. Yes. And a succession of reanimations, gradually moving closer to objective 2.
Finally, I've got the lieutenant. He's going to fire at the flayed ones. So he has 2 shots hitting on 2s. They both hit. Wounding on 3s and 6s do 2 mortal wounds in addition.
Oh, that's 4 mortal wounds. Wow, okay. Yeah. Also 2 saves from them, which they failed both of, so they're actually destroyed. They don't have a chance to reanimate. So that takes out all of the flayed ones. So yeah, unfortunately that is a mistake. It's only 1 mortal wound with the Lieutenant's Neo-Volkite pistol. It's the Tech Priest Dominus's Volkite Blaster that does 2 mortal wounds. So I should have had at least 1 flayed one left after reanimations. I doubt it would have done anything though, so probably not a great effect on the game, but we do have to acknowledge that we did get this wrong.
So in the charge phase, this unit of assault intercessors will declare a charge on the 3 remaining Necron warriors.
And I'll spend a command point to Overwatch. So 6 shots from the warriors hitting on 6s. Nope, they all missed.
Did a good roll for their charge. Like more than a 5, so we'll spend a command point to reroll both of the dice into a 10, which will be enough. So the assault intercessors will charge like that. I will pile them in a little bit, and I'm not too interested in getting into the immortals because the Royal Warden can just let them fall back and shoot without penalty anyway, so that will just be their charge. So we've got 16 attacks from the assault intercessors, 3 each, because they've got chainswords and then Sarge's next one is the special. Hitting on 3s, it's 10 hits. Wounding on 4s, no rerolls because the lieutenant's miles away. 6.
6 5 plus saves. Nah, they're all dead. So that's the end of the warriors.
So this guy's going to move over here. So he's closer to the immortals, but further away from the spider. That's all this guy.
That'll be the end of the turn. The Space Marines now hold 2 objectives now, so they gain 10 victory points and another 5 for holding more. So they are up to 25 as we head into Necron's turn 2. So nothing to do in my command phase again, apart from gaining a command point, going back up to 4. In the movement phase, the Scarabs are just tucked in a bit further behind the box, but there are still 2 of them on objective 3. Spiders move down towards the middle, the Immortals have just repositioned slightly inside the building, and the Royal Warden has moved into the building, just to stay away from the aggressors mostly. So in the shooting phase, we'll start with the Spider shooting at the Assault Intercessors holding objective 2. 12 shots on 4s, 4 hits. Wounding on 3s, 2 wounds, no AP.
3 plus saves. Failed 1. Lose a Marine.
The Royal Warden will shoot at them now that they're because of the 2 damage. 4 shots on 3s, 3 hits. I'll spend a command point to make one of those automatically wound with Techno-Oracular targeting, and then roll the other 2 needing 3s. Got another 1, so 2 wounds, AP minus 2.
2 5 plus saves. Failed both. I will spend a command point here to re-roll 1, see if I can save a Marine. No, so it's 2 dead Marines. And we'll take away these 2.
Now hopefully the Spider can finish them off in melee, so the Immortals are going to shoot at the 3-man squad of Assault Intercessors, because the guy in the building can be seen, they're all within 15 inches of him. And I'll spend another command point for Relentless Onslaught, so 6 is to hit with rapid fire weapons, generate an extra hit. 10 shots hitting on 3s, 6s are an extra hit. We've got 2 6s, so to cancelling out 2 of the misses, that'll be 9 hits. 3s to wound, 6.
So we've got a guy in cover, so I'll do him first. He's got 4s, so he's still alive after 2. Still alive. 3 left. Still alive. Still alive. Last one. He dies. Oof.
Now we're on to charges, and we'll charge the spider at those 2 assault intercessors in the middle.
They might as well overwatch. Well, the guy in front will throw a crack grenade and Sarge will fire his bolt pistol. So we'll do the black dice as the crack grenade, and these hit on 6s. No.
And the spider's charge, yeah, it's enough. And the spider will get itself to there. Spider has 5 attacks hitting on 4s. 2 hits, wounding on 2s. We've got 2 wounds, AP minus 3, 2 damage.
6 plus armour. Made 1. I have to kill the sergeant so that marine stays on the objective.
Yeah, because if you'd left the sergeant alive, I would just consolidate into him and stop him moving. But that marine does get to fight back.
3 attacks on 3s. 2 hits. 5s. 1 wound.
4 plus armour. No, it takes a wound, it's down to 5. But that lone marine does have to take a morale test because he's lost all the rest of his members of his unit.
And he's only leadership 7. So 1, 2 or 3, he's fine.
Because of the brave lone marine, I don't take the middle objective, so I only hold 1, which is only worth 5 victory points. So I'm up to 20, to the Imperium's 25. And we'll be on to Imperium turn 3.
So at the top of the board, this squad of intercessors is going to move towards objective 2. Hopefully we can go and contest objective 3 at some point. In the middle, the lone marine survivor is going to fall back from the spider, and then the lieutenant's going to move up. And then down near objective 1, the 2 remaining assault intercessors of the 3-man squad are just going to hide behind the building for the rest of the game. They're doing their job of holding the objective, while the aggressors are going to move into the building, getting themselves in flamethrower range of the spider. So 66 automatic hits, 17 hits, wounding on 5s. 2, 3, 4.
4, 3 plus saves. It takes another wound, it's down to 4.
Do the lieutenant next, he's going to shoot at the spider as well. 2 shots on 2s, getting 2 hits. Wounding on 5s again, 6s do 2 mortal wounds in addition. 2 wounds, but no mortal wounds this time.
2 more 3 plus saves. I failed both, and it's 2 damage each, so it's destroyed. So yeah, we need to command point reroll one of those. Only to a 4. Okay, well it's allowed on 2 wounds at least.
And finally, this squad are going to shoot the spider as well. Yeah, I will supercharge the plasma. Black dice is the plasma, and the rest are bolt pistols. No one in range for grenades, so these all hit on 3s. Well, the plasma hit at least, and so did one of the other marines. Plasma wounds on a 3, while the other one wounds on a 5, re-rolling 1s. Well, they both wound.
Well, we'll do the save against the plasma. It's a 6 plus, which I failed. So it is destroyed. No command point reroll available now. Does it blow up on a 6? No. So the spider is destroyed as well.
And then in the charge phase, this squad of intercessors will charge the scarabs. And they get 7. Then the aggressors will try and charge the immortals. It's going to be a very long charge.
But I'm not going to take the bait and use my command point for Overwatch. I want to keep it for blowing up scarabs.
So they get 3, definitely not enough. I won't use a command point to reroll. I'm going to have the lieutenant have a go as well. He needs a high roll, more than a 4, so I will spend a command point to reroll both of those. Into a 7, that's not enough either. So all we've got left is down here, where there's going to be some creative piling in, I think.
So with the piling in, they will manage to get in range.
16 attacks once again, hitting on 3s. That's only 8 hits. These wound on 3s, getting 7 wounds.
With no save, because they're scarabs, so it destroys a whole base. Do we bring the destroyed base back? 4 5s? Nope. And then the scarabs, well, the wounded one was at the back. It piles in through the wall, and then it gets within itself within engagement range. And then after it's piled in, I will spend a command point to blow it up with self-destruction. So on a 2 plus it does D3 mortal wounds, on a 6 it does 3 mortal wounds. Oh, 1, so nothing happens. And then 4 attacks from the remaining base, hitting on 4s, 6s wound automatically. Well, hey, we've got 2 hits and an automatic wound. And, oh, wow, 2 more wounds. 3 wounds from the scarab base.
3s? Yeah, we'll take a wound.
But that's it. Obviously the Imperium are now firmly in control of that objective.
Yeah, I hold all 3 objectives. So I get 5 for each objective, and then another 5 for holding more than the Necrons. So I got to 45.
Compared to the Necrons 20, as we go into Necrons turn 3. But I think we can safely call the game there, because I have 3 units left and there are 3 objectives left. The Immortals and the Royal Warden might be able to kill the Lieutenant and take the central objective, which would gain me effectively 11 victory points at the end of the game. But there's no way I can get actually 3 back with 1 Scarab base, and Objective 1 is held by those 2 intercessors, and the aggressors are still loose and undamaged, so they'll just clean up everything. Yeah, with the Imperium having a 25 victory point advantage already, it's almost certainly going to end in an Imperial victory. So we will recap the game for you now. Well, that was the game for issue 56 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How did you think that went?
Yeah, don't really see how it could have gone much better. I think I got some very lucky dice rolls, especially wiping out the unit of flayed ones with the Neo-Volkite pistol and having a Marine left in the middle. That's some pretty key points. Also, your Scarab blowing up and not doing anything sort of summed up the game a bit, I think.
Yeah.
But I think actually just me going first felt like you were on the back foot for the whole game. If you were able to get on the objectives and then shoot me to stop me getting close, that would have worked out pretty well for you, I think. But once I was on the objectives, it'd be much harder for you to shift me off of them because you didn't really have that many melee units. You would have to shoot me off the objective and then go and take it the next turn, whereas I can just charge onto the objective. I'm much better at fighting on an objective, and if I assault onto it, I can take it in the same turn, whereas you have to shoot me off it. And the Spider, unfortunately, is only one model. You will have to wipe out a unit to take an objective.
Yeah, that's it. I was able to take the central objective, for example, but then you came in with more force and I had to then push you off it. I still had quite a lot of firepower left with the Royal Warden and the Immortals, but they would have had to move out and do objective taking as well, which is not something they're so good at. Yeah, pretty good actually. We had the Spider go and hold objective 3 by itself. I don't think the Intercessors would want to charge it without having softened it up a lot first. It got destroyed because it had to come into the centre of the board and do work, which meant it was just in range of everything. But I think I also probably didn't really place my warriors very well. I think perhaps what I should have done in hindsight was realise that you were obviously going to bring the aggressors on in range of the warriors if you could. So perhaps I should have sent the Scarabs down the bottom of the board instead and had them tie up your guys on objective 1, because although they wouldn't have won that, they would have forced your units back and made you fight over there rather than being able to focus on the middle. And that would have kept the warriors safe from the flamethrowers, which is what did most of the damage.
Yeah, I think me killing them, they only got to shoot once, and that was in Overwatch when there were only 3 left.
Yeah.
Whereas if all 10 of them got to shoot at something, they'd probably delete one of the units.
And obviously I did have the choice of whether to bring the Royal Warden or the Technomancer. I think the Royal Warden was the right choice, even though he didn't get to use his ability to let things fall back and shoot. I think his extra firepower would make the difference, and if I had some warriors left, then the Technomancer could have resurrected some of them. But
yeah, in this game there was nothing for the Technomancer to resurrect.
No.
I wiped out units. Yeah, and I think the Lieutenant was the better choice. I didn't think I re-rolled many ones to wound, but I still think he'd be a better choice because he'll do much better against the Spider in melee. I mean, the Librarian Smite is probably more consistent than the Neo-Volkite pistol would be, but there's the chance it will do D6 mortal wounds, but then there's a chance he won't do anything and he'll wound himself. And he doesn't have an invulnerable save, and he's not as good at shooting or in melee, only hitting on 3s.
And the Librarian only has that one psychic power at the moment as well. We are expecting at some point we will get more psychic powers for him to use, but the value of a Librarian is in actually being able to use different psychic powers, but we just haven't been told what they are yet. So he's always actually going to look bad compared to the Lieutenant, I think, until we get that.
Yeah, and I'm much more comfortable at leaving the Lieutenant out on his own as well.
I suppose actually it didn't come to it, but if it come down to slay the Warlord, then actually you would have a much easier job at that in this game, because both Royal Warden and the Technomancer are not nearly as tough as the Lieutenant.
Yeah, they don't have invulnerable saves.
They're 4 wounds each. He's got 5. He has an invulnerable save and 2+ armor save as well. It's slightly ironic that the background for the game was launching assassination strikes to take out the enemy leadership, but actually you got far more victory points for holding objectives in this game, but never mind.
It does seem a bit weird. Not entirely sure what the objectives were meant to be holding. It's presumably just taking ground. Yeah, it's very slowly teaching us how to make our own armies, which is what we'll be shifting into in later issues as well. And it was kind of nice to see the Space Marines again. It feels like it's been a really long time since we've seen any Space Marines at all, or at least had an all Space Marine force. I was surprised how well they did, considering I don't have any faction rules or unique stratagems for the Space Marines either. Apparently they don't need them.
But, well, there's not really actually much more to say about this issue, so let us know your thoughts in the comments below on the game, on how it went. If you've played it, let us know how you did. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.